Director Christine Lagarde have discussed the current economic challenges around the world. The two met in Pretoria earlier today. Now, in November, the IMF commended South Africa for its economic reforms. The financial institution said strengthening the finances of state-owned entities and reducing the cost of doing business were key to the economic stability of South Africa. Lagarde held a media briefing with Reserve Bank Governor Lestja Kganyago. My colleague Arabile Gumede was there and joins me in studio now. Arabile, what happened at that briefing?
Well, look, I guess there was a lot of fanfare around it, right? A lot of expectation that perhaps she might really bring out a huge sense of news, a big set of surprises perhaps for South Africa. And she started off by saying it as probably one of the first things. She also said it in an interview with our colleague Tsepiso Makwetla as well. And I thought that we just play the sentiment and her words from that press conference and really get what it is that a lot of journalists were probably wondering the most about, and even a whole lot of South Africans as well. Let's perhaps cue that clip.
I'm not here to discuss any kind of financial support or to negotiate any kind of program, and I have not received any request to that effect. So that's crystal clear, and I hope it puts to bed some of the rumors or noises that I have seen here and there about this particular matter. No, not at all.
The sentiment, right? Or hopefully it does. And I suppose the next important question in relation to that is whether South Africa needs it. And my colleague Tsepiso Makwetla did get to speak to Christine Lagarde. And, you know, the sentiment was that South Africa does not need any form of financial help. That is a good boost for South Africa, who in the last year has really gone through the mire and hoped that because we've had a change in leadership that we'd find a way through all of this and perhaps get to growth levels beyond 2%. That's a far cry right now, right? But Christine Lagarde really offering what is certainly a sense of confidence and a vote of confidence in South Africa.
She spoke about the economy, about jobs and land.
Yeah, she did indeed, right? So, you know, the worry is to the rest of the world, much the same as, you know, of course, the United States, which made it clear what their position is on South Africa's land debate, is whether this situation and this issue can actually be dealt with in the right manner and be sorted out without impacting on South Africa's economy, without impacting on civil rights, without impacting, I guess, on just South Africa as an economic hub for the rest of the world, and perhaps whether investors would run away or stay within South Africa. And I suppose her message was also very clear on that, and I think we can play the clip on that one too and really detail what exactly she did say just about that land issue.
I had a chance to meet President Ramaphosa on a few occasions before this meeting, and the last time we met we discussed extensively the land expropriation without compensation as he had described it to me, and I understand and he explained to me in very clear details the symbolic value associated with that project, the constitutional basis that is necessary and that has served the country well in the past, present and hopefully future. And you know, we have a few ideas as to how to make that principle effective, practical, reasonably well accepted, despite the you know, the difficulty of those who eventually will have to relinquish some of their current title to assets, so to speak. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the sort of cost-benefit analysis that has been brought to bear in order to support and pursue this process.
So you spoke a little bit earlier on about our tough economic situation. We've just emerged from a recession. What's her view on how South African economy is going to fare going forward?
Look, she said there's no balance of payment crisis, right? So this is somebody who sees a whole lot of crises across the African continent as well, and says South Africa does not have to worry so much. Yes, fine, there are structural issues. Yes, there are pressures that are facing even the central bank itself. But that does not mean South Africa as yet needs any form of help from the IMF. It does, however, make note that support is perhaps required, and that the reforms that South Africa needs to undertake needs to happen very quickly. Letting go of some of the issues that face South Africa and ensuring that you make sure that you're stern across all sectors in which you're trying to grow the economy. That needs to be quite critical. She also then made mention of the state capture inquiry, right, and said that rooting out that form of corruption is certainly going to bode well for South Africa's economy. And she actually believes in that state capture inquiry. And I think a clear message here, she was quite buoyant about South Africa. She was really giving out a vote of confidence here, saying that South Africa should not be as negative as we perhaps see it out to be. But of course, we live in the circumstances, right? And we see it, and we perhaps view it and think to ourselves, it's absolutely dire. But from the other side of the pond there, shall we call it, from Christine Lagarde's world, it seems to be entirely different and a whole lot more positive.
Thanks, Arabile, for that insight. Arabile Gumede, my colleague, giving us an insight into that meeting between Christine Lagarde, President Ramaphosa, as well as Lestja Kganyago. Shante, it's over to